What's up everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on last night's filler episode of Teen Mom OG. Remember that teaser preview that's been going around since the very beginning, hinting at Tyler having a big blowout with Kate? Well, it happens in this episode and we're going to get into it a little bit later on in the recap. But to start off, the show kicked off with Mackenzie telling her kids about their move to Florida without their dad. The kids were all in and the daughter, you know, her only stipulation was that there had to be cereal in Florida, 2 boxes to be exact, and so Mackenzie agreed to the terms, and so they are officially moving to Florida. We then get another montage of how toxic Zach and Cheyenne's relationship was, and this time I'm actually surprised I didn't remember some of the things that happened, like Cheyenne getting super drunk and like lunging to push Zach, Zach calling her a weirdo, a bitch, and like saying that she was gonna go get fucked by someone else. The two of them were a mess together and I can't believe how much I forgot. Meanwhile, in Michigan, Catelynn and Tyler are talking about potentially having a third baby and how bad their relationship was while she was pregnant with Veda. Remember, that is the time where Tyler decided it was the perfect opportunity to ask for a trial separation. Down south in Tennessee, Maci and Taylor are talking about Bentley's grades slipping, and she actually mentions him failing an open book test, and she kind of giggles about it like, oh my god, like how do you fail an open book test? And it was just so awkward. It was like, you really don't have anything about yourself to film. We really have to put your child on blast. Exposing his therapy appointment wasn't enough. Now we're gonna laugh at him for failing an open book test with all that he's got going on emotionally. Not a fan. Inside Indiana, Gary and Christina invite Amber to go boating with them, and Gary taunts her about Andrew living in her old house. That is classic Gary the douchebag. He knows she cannot slip up and really talk about Andrew, insult him or anything like that, or she breaks her probation and risks going to jail for a few years. So I don't know why he decided to do that. But anyway, it was also very weird that Christina later asked her if she was okay with their boat passing like by like the house that she used to live in. Like the two of them were being very odd about Andrew with Amber. It almost felt as though producers were asking them or saying, listen, we don't have much content. This is going to be like the storyline where we're peddling. Like they're in the middle of the water. They don't know if Andrew's home. They don't know if he's in the backyard. Even if he's in the backyard, who's to say he's looking, you know, to think, will Amber go by on a boat today or anything like that? Actually, wait, Andrew did get into a lot of legal trouble in the past for stalking exes, so who knows, maybe she does have a right to be worried about that. Down in LA, Cheyenne announces that she got back together with Zach to one friend while they were out to lunch, and so she FaceTimes her other friend Remy while they're still at the table to spill the tea, and Remy tells Cheyenne that it's a bad idea that she's back together with Zach, and that Cheyenne has always acted like it was a bother for Zach to even be around, and that Zach was too clingy. Like, has he learned to like gain independence or something like that? And I was like, this is so embarrassing that she knew she was being filmed and she spilled all this tea about the crap Cheyenne was talking about Zach behind his back over the years. I was like, this must be so awkward for him to watch back, like pregnant and all a couple months later. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I love honest friends. I say it all the time, like drag my ass. Like I say that to my friends, like, am I making a stupid decision? Let me know. Like, don't be a bystander. So I really like that Remy spoke her piece. Moving over to Oklahoma, Mackenzie's dad announces the need for a quadruple bypass surgery for his heart problems. And so he was supposed to be out like of commission for about 3 months while he recovers from it. And of course, we know the virus is going around at this point, and so it's like, oh, it's especially scary to be going through major surgeries right now because of that. And so, you know, I really do hope that he is staying safe right now because the coast is still not clear. And I felt very, very heartbroken when he said that he needed their mom because she would know what to do. We are up north in Indiana again, where Leah drags the hell out of Amber. It was the highlight of the episode for me, you guys. So Amber gets in the car with her mom, Christina, to surprise Leah at school by like picking her up. But Leah was not here for seeing her jailbird sister, you guys. She literally asked Amber what she was doing there. Not even like, oh my God, what are you doing? And she's like, what are you doing here? And then when Amber asked her if she would prefer if she would just hop out of the car and walk in a cornfield, Miss Thang said, well, would you like to? Practically practically like she was about to reach on over and open up Amber's door for her so that she could walk on over there and leave them the hell alone. She sounded like one of them Golden Girls, you guys. Like, her sense of humor, her sarcasm and wit is so dry and so quick. I know she's a smart girl. She then asked Amber if she remembers promising to buy one of those like rich people houses one day, as if she was setting her up to say, well, why don't you take your ass on back over there, when Amber said yes. I really love that girl. Now listen, you guys, I was not a fan of Tyler's mom pushing for him and Catelynn to have another baby and telling them not to wait too long. First of all, they are in 7-figure debt to the IRS. They're always complaining about not being like, you know, mentally or emotionally stable either, and they're not even 30 years old yet. So I really don't understand what the rush is, especially when it comes to Kate. Like, you know, does she want Kate to fall off the deep end again so that she can, like, you know, crap on her for having another breakdown like she always seems to do? And whatever happened to her pushing for them to set themselves up for success outside of MTV? Remember when she iconically told them, listen, you guys need to get an education and some jobs, because no offense MTV, but this ain't it. Now, the fight that the show had been teasing for, like, you know, ever since the premiere episode was really a nothing burger sandwich. So Tyler and Catelynn's fight was about a bouncy castle. Like, they heard that it was going to be closing, and then Tyler was mad at himself for not taking Nova to the bouncy castle before it closed. Like, they could have split up, you know, one of them with Veda, one of them with Nova, so that she could have had that fun. Nova was freaking out. We already saw that Veda was crying all day because she didn't have her nap. So they were all just like really frustrated. So to me, it didn't seem like this huge deal that they tried to make it out to seem. It just looked like, you know, a couple that had been miscommunicating and, you know, were already frustrated with all of the crying and fussing going on around them, like in this like stressful situation, you know. And then of course with like the lockdown and then like, you know, the potentially closed down bouncy castle, like I really thought it was going to be a lot more than that. But I will say though that I didn't like Tyler's reaction afterwards, because, you know, he could have acknowledged that they were both just being dumb, but then like he really kind of felt like he was right when he was talking to his mom. He's like, did you see that? She attacked me, so I had to attack back. I was like, not really. Back down south in LA, Cheyenne's friends host a presentation with a, you know, slideshow to ask Zach's intentions of getting back together with Cheyenne for the 3rd time. I thought it was really cute and funny. You know, they ultimately wound up coming around to their union, which was super duper adorable. On the flip side, Maci and Taylor confront Bentley about his grades and let him know that he can't play sports if his grades continue to keep on dropping. I thought they had a very lovely talk about it, but then again, Bentley is constantly being put on blast from Maci to make money, and I don't love it. You know, like if it's not about Ryan, it's about, you know, his grades, and like you really don't learn that much about Maci personally or Taylor. And, you know, that's why I kind of prefer Cheyenne's segments and even Mackenzie's in some respects, because you're learning about them and like what they're dealing with as like young moms, you know, relationships and this and that. Like they're not really like hiding behind exposing their kids' issues the way that Maci is and the way that Chelsea was doing on Teen Mom 2 all of those years. And I'd have to say Tyler and Catelynn as well. Like you really know so much about them, you know, as a couple versus, you know, Nova or versus Veda and, you know, Carly. They did overly talk about her, but it was mainly just about themselves and how they feel about her. So speaking of Tyler and Catelynn, they actually get some time alone to talk about their little spat that they had, and they both apologized about it, which was nice. And then Mackenzie decided to delay her Florida trip by a week so that she could be there for her dad during his quadruple bypass surgery. She said like the first 3 days are the most critical, so she wants to be there for at least the first week to know that he's okay before she goes ahead and packs up and moves. Now the boating trip that we had been hearing about that Gary, Amber, Christina, Leah, and Emily were going on looked really fun. Like Gary has a really big, beautiful boat. I'm so jealous of it. And Amber's producer talked to her about Leah afterwards, and it was just so forced. Like so many interactions in this episode seemed incredibly staged and forced. Like they were like, okay guys, we really need content. You know, she was talking to Amber about like how Leah is, and Amber says that, you know, Leah, like I think she's great, I think she's smart, she's got a bright future, but I also worry that she's going to be at least subconsciously impacted by all of like, you know, the stuff that she'd experienced, like her and Gary's constant fighting, Amber going to jail, Amber going to jail again, you know, Amber having all like drug issues, like all sorts of things. And it was just, again, a really awkward and forced conversation. Like they just went boating. I'm sure she just wants to relax and not really talk about this. And now in the final scene of the episode, Catelynn and Tyler have a private conversation by the river, and they start talking about how they're just going to keep like raw dogging it until they get pregnant again. They don't necessarily want to plan their next baby, but they know that they would like to have another one, but they want it to happen naturally with no pressure. And unfortunately, we all know how that wound up. It did end up ending in miscarriage for the two of them. But you guys, that does it. A recap of what went down on last night's episode of Teen Mom OG. But as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.